cops as they tried to kill the folks that were inside the Cultural Center, the Convention Center actually. Cultural Center's June 2nd issue. Actually, the Cultural Center goes back to the May 3rd. It was the Islamic Cultural Center of Phoenix that the two jihadis, Elton Simpson and Nadir Sofi, came from, traveled 1,000 miles to Garland, Texas, to come to the Convention Center and kill everybody that was inside, an event put on by Robert Spencer and Pamela Geller. Then less than a month later, June 2nd, May 3rd, 2 dead jihadis. June 2nd, 1 dead jihadi who wanted to kill Pamela Geller. Hey, what's that? She's got 3 dead jihadis on her list of things in the world.
She's racking them up.
Yeah, those aren't things you really want on your vita, but the facts are that on June 2nd, Usaama Rahim, with the original intent of beheading Pamela Geller in New York from Boston, 3 or 4 hours transportation, decided it was too difficult, wanted to go after the boys in blue, the Boston boys in blue, and he got blown away by an FBI agent and a Boston cop. We're all familiar with that. That all happened in less than a 30-day period, and we have the Islamic State. There's Usaama Rahim for you, 26 years old, was on the radar of our law enforcement agencies for a couple of years because he was saying crazy things on the internet. And after Garland, he got a little agitated, and that's when his language and his operational desire spiked. And that is when the agencies had to go operational and intercede on that day, June 2nd, Tuesday. They had to go check him out, to talk to him. They were going there simply to question him because they knew he was going to do something, and he wound up charging them, and they wound up shooting him. Well, that particular event occurred in Boston. Today, on Jumpin' Juma, Freaky Thursday.
What?
What?
Tom, it's not Juma if it's Thursday.
It's not Juma if it's Thursday. That's a title for a book, I think. Some creative writer out there will steal that. Damon, you ought to coin that. That's right. Juma can only be Friday. Juma is the ultimate weekly day of prayer. As we all know, Muslims have to pray 2 times more than Jews have to pray, but seriously less than Christians have to pray. Seriously less than Christians have to pray.
Yeah, well, you know.
What does that mean? I'll tell you in a second.
Well, it is because, Tom, if I must say, as a Muslim, and you are well aware of this, even as a Christian, your felt faith as it is, you know that a Muslim is required to pray 5 times a day while facing Mecca.
5 times a day for Muslims, 3 times a day for Jews. Unendingly for we Christians, we're told to be in an attitude of prayer daily. An attitude of prayer, be in constant communication with God. So we pray more than anybody. If you're a good Christian, you're in an attitude of prayer. But on the 5 times a day, you got to do it or you go into the fiery pit if you don't. But really,
hellfire.
Yeah, if you miss Friday Juma and you're a male, physically capable within traveling distance of a mosque, read Reliance right here. If you miss it 3 days in a row, 3 Fridays sequentially, curtains for you, dude.
You will never visit Jannat. You will surely visit the hellfires. And you can expect to have your flesh burnt off by hot oil and regrown only to be burnt off by hot oil yet again in perpetuity.
What is Abdullah doing here on a Thursday? What is that all about?
Tom, I was told I was welcome here at all times.
Okay.
And if I have the time, if I am not planning terror attacks or speaking of civilizational jihad with my brothers, I like to come here with you.
Okay, that's fine.
You are my favorite infidel. Tom, you are the Ayatollah of Islamophobia, my friend.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. And we appreciate you coming, sharing your thoughts with us. Imam, that's Imam Abdullah, Pakistani Taliban. You're always welcome here. We like to keep our enemies, name of the show, right there on the screen, Enemies of the State. We like to keep our enemies very, very close to us, Imam Abdullah. But you're my friend. You're not my enemy.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Tom.
All right, well, on this 11th day of June, 2015, 11 minutes after, 11:11, 11 minutes after the hour on the East Coast of the United States of America in the state of Florida, the state where more Christians don't vote than any other state in the Union. We have that claim to fame. One of our objectives, 520-something days left until November 8th, 2016, is to get some of you lazy Christians off your asses out to vote. You understand? You want to win back this country? You want to stand with Israel? You want to fight against Islamic Jihad? You want to fight against the radical left? You want to fight against our buddy Mr. Obama here? You got to do it not with guns and bombs and bullets. That's chaos. In a land ruled by law, you do it legally like we do, and you do it properly, and it's done all day, every day, but primarily election day, where we throw the bums out and we bring in a whole nother set of bums who won't do what we ask them to do. Thus, I don't run for office. I would have so many problems in Washington, D.C. You won't have enough fingers on the guy with more fingers than anybody on the face of the earth would know. That's why we do activism, armchair activists. That's what we are, armchair activists.
So, unfortunately, Tom, sometimes you are more than armchair. Sometimes you actually go out and have these confrontations with my brothers, and that is why sometimes I take so much heat from my Muslim brothers from entertaining you and even appearing on your show. I have even had death threats from members of my own community.
Imam Abdullah, I fooled you. I understand that completely. And yes, in all honesty, we do hit the road. And on today's show and tomorrow's show, Jumpin' Juma Thursday and Friday, we know Juma is only on Friday, but we added in today because we have so much material to cover for tomorrow that we said, let's use some of it on today. And we're going to focus, folks, and Imam Abdullah, we're going to focus on one of your most favorite jihad places on the globe, none other than the Boston's Islamic Jihad Society. Right there, you're looking at the Roxbury Mosque. Something that's been in the news, international news over the past couple of weeks. And we had our team, a crack team of Alan Kornman and Damon Imam Abdullah. Is Damon back there in the control room?
I am here, Tom. Who do you think's running this mess today?
Oh, yeah.
I got no Mark, but I got your stinky little imam back here with me.
I will get him off camera. We don't want people to see what he looks like. And say hello to our audience, Damon. Damon, welcome back.
You want me to say hello?
Yeah, say hello.
Okay, I could probably figure that out.
Can you do that?
Yeah, there we go.
There you are.
Hello.
Wave to everybody.
Hello, everybody.
I don't see Mark next to you.
There is no Mark.
Is he on vacation again?
Something like that.
He's under the weather. He texted me earlier. He's under the weather. We've had some visitors lately who have had colds. And I'm surprised I don't have one because they spread this stuff all over the place. But I'm feeling good. How are you feeling out there, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you very, very much for your support. More and more of you are watching the show. Yesterday's show on the 10th was fabulous with Sean Rowe. I had a couple of folks say, don't go to Iraq, don't help the Iraqi armies. Just because bad guys who hate us are fighting people they hate doesn't mean that any of them are our friends. And we had to kind of set the record straight and say, we understand that. Sean Rowe isn't going to help the Iraqi army. Sean Rowe and his veteran buddies, Veterans Against ISIS, are going to help people that ought to be our friends, the Kurds up north. They, for the most part, when you put all the folks on in battle now around the world, you look at the Kurds, they are in simpatico more so with us than any of these jihadi groups by any means. And one of the reasons, I stated this yesterday, one of the reasons is that the Kurds predate Islam, their tribal relations. They're very nationalistic. Even though they've been dispersed in several countries, Turkey and Iraq and parts of Syria and Iran, they've always maintained, much like Jewish people, there's a lot of similarities between the continuation of a race of Jewish people and the race of the Kurds. They have maintained their unique identity. They have not been dispersed, and they are pretty tight in their marriage relations with staying within the Kurdish community. Therefore, Islam is a secondary consideration to them. They are very Western in much of their thinking, particularly since we put in the no-fly zones after Desert Storm and allow them to be productive, extremely productive, hardworking people. We have some Kurds who come on the show. We'll bring them back, Kurdish leaders of the Kurdish movement here in America. We'll bring them back on the show. Sean Rowe's going over there, and if there's any patriots out there that can help Sean and his boys suit up and get over to help the Kurds, they're going to be advisors. They're not picking up weapons, going to fight the Islamic State head-to-head. They're going to be training Kurds, helping Kurds, doing intelligence, doing operational activities.
Medical stuff.
What's that?
A lot of medical guys.
Medical help, yeah. If you could help Sean Rowe and his buddies, all veterans, please do that. Go to Veterans Against ISIS. They have a Facebook page. They have a way in which you can donate. These donations are not tax deductible. Screw the tax deductible thing. Help people like this who are basically leading the way with what our foreign policy should be. And ironically, Obama sent 450 more people to go train the Iraqis as opposed to the Kurds yesterday. He's just got to redirect them a little bit. So, but our show today and tomorrow, we're going to focus on the Islamic Society of Boston. Our big idea is very simple. As you're looking at all the Republican candidates and Democrat candidates now, some of them are coming out of the woods. Guy the other day, Clemens, I think his name is. I think Senator Clemens.
Lincoln Chafee?
No, some Democrat senator's running for office, and his big idea is to return America to the metric system. And Jon Stewart did a little piece on it. It was really funny. Like, okay, let's hear what the main competition to Hillary is going to do if he becomes president. And he's like one of the most boring speakers. And Stewart has this little video piece where Clemens goes, and I think to be an international, part of the international community, we need to return to the metric system.
Didn't he say something about it making up for our mistakes in Iraq also, linking it to that?
Who knows?
That's a fruitcake.
Come on. I mean, I can't figure out the Republicans, let alone nitwit Democrats trying to become president. But our point for our show, and our show, Enemies of the State, we take a very deep look at very serious information, but we do it with a little bit of humor, like this little rubberhead of President Obama. It's a rubberhead we got at CPAC, one of the conservative organizations that was giving them out. And I think it's cute. It kind of depicts his personality. And we are no friends of this guy.
Didn't one of the guys in the crew take some really weird picture of that thing?
Yeah, I think so. We're no friend of this guy. And as much as he may be, a nice husband, a father, and all of that, and there's questions about that, he is affecting the lives of billions of people worldwide. And when you got a guy who was an empty suit in terms of a coherent worldview that was consistent with Western civilization, he comes in with these fragments of anti-colonialism, of Marxism, socialism, of Islam, of a secularism. And he is a man for all seasons. He's almost like a chameleon. Whatever group, if he was with the progressive artists, he's one of them. If he's with the homosexuals, he's one of them. If he's with the socialists, he's one of them. There he is, perfect picture. And you say, that's the guy we want to run the country because he has a nice smile and he's got a cool hipness about him? Well, you get 6 years later, a world in chaos, and really our country, understand this, the country's so strong that it'll take more than one person to bring it down, but it takes one person to harm it seriously. He has done serious harm to this country because the economy is slowly improving in some sectors. Doesn't mean the economy is improving. It isn't by any means, and certainly isn't.
Worst recovery ever.
Yeah, it isn't the way it should if we had proper economic leadership. His focus is more on politically pandering to the Democrat left, the non-productive left, to maintain their voting bloc and to add to that bloc so there can be a continuation of leftist voting to add anywhere between 5 and 11 million illegal people simply because somebody sneaks across the border, then has a couple of babies. Now, because they had babies illegally in a country they're in illegally, there's a moral obligation by the framers of the country. Whenever you want to identify cultural behavior to morally grade it, don't grade cultural behavior in 2015. By 2015, go back and say, if you were at the First Continental Congress, if you were there in 1775, 1776, when they were hammering out the initial documents to comprise the foundation of this country, and you came and said, I'd like to stand on the floor before the gentleman from Philadelphia, Mr. Franklin, and the gentleman from Virginia, Mr. Washington, and the gentleman from Virginia, Mr. Jefferson, and I'd like to say I have 5 million people from Africa that we're going to bring in, 5 million people from Saudi Arabia, 5 million people from the Sudan. We're going to bring them in and we're going to make them Americans tomorrow. Tell me what those guys would have said if you would have said, we're doing that tomorrow so they can vote for the Tory party or something.
Well, they would have said, get that crown off your head, buddy.
Yeah, they would go, Sergeant of Arms, take that guy out and put him in the thing where you put it in the stockade and tar and feather him, will
This
you?
is what he's acting like right here.
Yeah, there you go.
He's acting like it's the imperial presidency.
If you want to grade or evaluate cultural policy today, don't do it by the mindset of 2015. Do it by the framers. What would they have done with an idea to infiltrate Americans with people who hate the country, disagree differently, but simply want the money of those white rich guys? What do you think they would have said? And these are white rich guys, by the way, that gave their life for this country and their fortunes and their honor. That's what they gave for this country. So the rich thing is a great PC soundbite, but it's not factually accurate. Their wealth motivated them to fight and die for this country.
That's terrible.
I know. So,
Them greedy white folks.
So, this president has caused great problems, and the problems in the Middle East have festered over in an unbelievably rapid way. Due to President Obama, we're blaming him for 90% of this, but also iPhones and social media has enhanced a bad message. Just like any tool can enhance something for good or bad, you got a hammer, you need to put a nail in, you hit it, the nail goes in. Good use of a hammer. You miss and you hit your finger. We've all been there, and that hurts for many days. It doesn't go away after the first day. He has hit this country with a hammer, not the nail. He's hit the people of this country, President Obama has. One way in which he's done that, he has nurtured the Muslim Brotherhood into his White House, into his operational activities. He has downgraded our aggressive rules of engagement with our elite warriors. He has hand-tied and handcuffed the law enforcement in this country in a dramatic way. And the role of government is to suppress evil and enhance good. And when you enhance good by suppressing good, then you get evil. Remember that. When you try to enhance good by suppressing good, you, by necessity, enhance evil. That's what we have. The cops in Baltimore aren't engaging anymore. They're driving by if they see gangs with guns, because they know if they go over there, there's going to be some sort of confrontation, and they know that the administration in Baltimore does not have their back. That's a fact of what happens. The administration, a microcosm of what's going on in Washington, tried to enhance good by suppressing good, the cops, standing with the evildoers, and now the murder rate is sky high and crime is sky high in Baltimore. Go there for your summer vacation. See how many people can go to Baltimore for the summer vacation.
I do not know what is wrong with Baltimore.
Now, coming to the issue at hand today is the Islamic Jihad issue. When you have a region of the country like Boston with great schools there, MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, Cambridge, Harvard, when you have these great world centers where typically people wanted to come and train, many of them to go back and take their training to their country, many of them to stay. But when they came to change the country and they did it in Boston by setting up the Islamic Society of Boston, you know you've got serious problems. But people say, oh, these are Islamophobes like Trento and Gaffney and Charles Jacobs and Ilya Festikov, right?
Feoktistov.
Feoktistov, Feoktistov. Ilya and many others up there fighting the battles. When you have people like that for 5, 6, 7 years yelling and screaming, we got a problem in Boston, we got a problem in Boston, and nobody listens. And then when Boston has a problem where, was it 2 guys a couple of weeks ago got zapped?
Yeah.
Who were the 2 guys? Not Usaama Rahim, but Abousamra.
Yeah. Ahmad Abousamra.
Ahmad Abousamra, he got zapped by a drone in the Middle East because he was, well, we're going to hear about that in a second. But then, who was the second guy up in Boston?
Usaama Rahim.
Oh, it was Rahim, that's right. Yeah. 2 guys in 2 weeks, that's right.
Yeah.
2
What
guys
you got
in
on
2
your
weeks.
desk there?
I'm losing track of these jihadis, man. They're falling like dried leaves off a winter tree. It's a pretty good little metaphor, dried leaves off a winter tree. Just came up with that. When you have stuff like that, then you got to go dive in and take a look. We sent our team, our crack team, to Boston to cover a great event that Rabbi John Hausman was having with 3 heroes, Admiral Lyons. Damon, you were there. What was that all about? And then show us some video of you guys in operation in Boston investigating the Islamic Society of Boston.
Well, give me one second. You keep going a second. I'm working on something here.
All right, we got a picture there of 246A1012. Count them, folks, on the screen for the radio audience at WSBR. WSBR radio. You're driving in your car. You're laying on the beach listening to Tom Trento and Damon Rosen. At 28 minutes after 4 o'clock, you're going, Florida's great. Hey, this show's pretty good. What's it all about? We are about truth regarding the United States of America's foreign policy, national security policy, and its concern for the Middle East, for Israel in particular, and its concern for fighting Islamic jihadis here at home. And again, when you do this, you have to deal with this administration who has failed miserably. And we're saying that Boston is a graphic illustration of the jihad problem in America. And not only are we saying that, we've established it factually. We're going to show you some video that was shot 6 years ago. 6 years ago by moi. I was there at the Roxbury Mosque 6 years ago this month, shooting a story about this mosque being a seed bed, place where you plant seeds of jihad that will come to fruition. 6 years ago, the place you see on your screen, we said it's going to cause trouble. And now we're seeing trouble from it. This is just the beginning, ladies and gentlemen. There was no Islamic State 6 years ago.
There was there was Al-Qaeda in Iraq.
In its embryonic form, it was Al-Qaeda. It was Islamic Jihad. It was Palestinian Islamic Jihad. All of these various iterations of Islam, taking jihad devoutly, all of these iterations evolved, properly evolved from their point of view into the cornerstone of is forming a caliphate here in the United States. We're arguing today and tomorrow that every American better understand what's going on in Boston because it's coming to Chicago, it's coming to Los Angeles, it's coming to Miami, it's coming to Dallas.
Certainly New York.
San Francisco. Coming to those places. If you're not prepared, there's going to be a lot of dead human Americans.
We've already had a decapitation in Kansas City, for God's sake.
So, this is a serious part of the next presidential election. If you're going to vote for somebody, they better understand Islamic Jihad, and they better say, oh, Boston is a great example of what I'm going to fight for federally, assisting the state of Massachusetts and the good people of the cities in Massachusetts.
And that's exactly what went on Tuesday.
And what went on Tuesday?
This went on Tuesday at Rabbi Hausman's congregation, the Avath Torah congregation in Stoughton, Mass. It was the Freedom Isn't Free speakers event, featuring none other than the ultra esteemed Admiral Ace Lyons, as well as Frank Gaffney and Claire Lopez. And here's a nice picture of the Admiral right there.
Hey, Ace Lyons, great guy, Admiral Lyons. Freedom Isn't Free. I love that title. Freedom.
Here's
Isn't
another
free.
of Ace when he was actually speaking. Let me tell you, he rocked the house. The guy is in his mid 80s.
Yep.
And he was a rock star.
He's a great guy. We've had him on the show many times. All right, Damon, you're going to be putting together, you and Alan and Mark, you're going to be putting together an edited version of that so we can play it as one of our shows, correct?
Absolutely.
All right, we'll have the Admiral back, Frank, Claire, Rabbi Hausman. We'll have them back then going through the presentation. There's Claire Lopez, CIA, 20 years, retired now, Vice President of Research Analysis at Center for Security Policy.
There's Frank Gaffney and Navy SEAL Anthony O'Brien, who I got to meet up there. He came to the event.
Good man. All right, it's 32 minutes after 4 o'clock. Tom Trento, your host, Enemies of the State. Name of the show, WSBR Radio out of Boca Raton, Miami to Palm Beach, North Miami to Palm Beach, theunitedwest.org. Watch us. We're a produced television show. Our audio is simulcast on commercial radio stations.
740 WSBR in sunny Boca Raton from North Miami all the way to North Palm Beach. Also, we have been broadcast. This is our second week now on Red State Talk Radio. So everyone check out redstatetalkradio.com. We air at midnight Eastern on the internet. So, and you can always watch us on YouTube.
We thank Primo for putting us on the air there, and Don and Donna Fiducia and Don Newen. They're part of Cowboy Logic Radio, now part of the conglomerate Red State Talk Radio. And be sure to go to Bare Naked Islam, to Jihad Watch, to the Front Page Magazine. Go to our website, down the bottom of theunitedwest.org. We have a whole list of some of our dear friend, all Islamophobes. And look, before we go to the video segments for today, we've been pushing a new meme that we want to get out there, a true meme. Islamophobia works. The fear that we have, we being the Trento, Gaffneys, Gellers, Brigitte Gabriels, all the people involved in the counter-jihad movement in the world, being classified by the enemy as Islamophobes. That's their term, desired to use in a derogatory nature toward us. We are spinning it to say that it works. When you have a fear of Islam like I do, I fear Islam taking root in any country. You point to one country where Islam has brought vitality, life, happiness, joy, and I'll show you you're pointing to the wrong country, because it doesn't. I fear the law structure of Islam. I fear the economic policies of Islam. I fear the theological statements of Islam. I can go on and on and on. I fear everything about Islam, and I love human beings enough, and within the class of human beings are Muslims caught up in Islam, to do this kind of work, to alert and awaken Muslims to the truth of Islam. There is no rule that says because somebody invented a religion, Muhammad, everybody 1,400 years later has to bow down and give respect to a crazy religion that was invented 1,400 years ago that has sown nothing but death and destruction.
Yes, it does,
wherever
Tom.
it's gone. Where's a rule that says, oh, because somebody invented a religion, we all have to respect it? Absolutely not. Religions have to earn respect. They have to gain respect. They have to be respectful. Islam is, if you take Islam out of the religion category and put it as a political movement, then you go, whoa! Just do that little test for me, America. Start thinking of Islam as a political movement, like the Nazi movement or the communist movement or a fascist movement or some banana republic, Central or South American, totalitarian movement. Look at it that way and go, whoa, looking at it that way, this is not a good thing.
Well, Tom, look at the Islamic Republic of Iran. It is, okay, it is the Islamic Republic. They are telling you they are ruling politically via a religious doctrine. That is proof, right?
It's complete proof. Listen to Anjem Chowdhury, who, when we asked them on this show a month ago, point to us the best Islamic state in the world right now, and his answer was Syria. And he's an Islamic scholar. He's an Islamic Sharia expert. He points to Syria. Why? Because it's the most devout country right now following the Sharia. And he says that's what the beauty of Islam is. So when you start looking at Islam primarily or exclusively as a political movement, then this respect that somehow it's garnered goes away, and it has to stand on its own and prove itself on its own. And because we critique and criticize, what does Islam do? What does Christianity do if you critique or criticize it? It goes, okay, big deal. You don't like it? Then forget about it. What does Islam do? Okay, you have to die. Why? Because you're a traitor. You're undermining the theology of Islam. So what if I undermine the theology? No, you're undermining the political component, thereby slowing down the political movement of Islam to gain control of the world. That's the geopolitical construction of it. And there you have Pamela Geller on screen. The ISIS, the Islamic State, vows to kill her. Look, she may die in this battle. I may die in this battle. You may die in this battle. We're all going to die sometime. But die for something that's worth battling for. And this battle is worth battling for, that's for sure. All right, Damon, show us a couple of bits of video that you took at the Roxbury Mosque and at the scene of the shooting of Usaama Rahim.
Sure. Let's start at Roxbury. What do you say to that?
No, let's go to the other. Well, if you got it queued up, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, no, I would start anywhere you want, man.
Yeah, start with the scene of the shooting, because look what I have in my hand. Thank you. You brought back a souvenir. In our studio, we have a very large kind of a man cave room where we bring memorabilia back from wherever we are and hang it up. This will hang in our memorabilia room. It's a piece of the crime scene tape. I think it's indicative of the red, blood, and it's a crime scene. And Islamic Jihad brings red blood and crime. In this case, it was the blood of the bad guys, but that's not always going to be the case. As we know with all our work in Israel, innocent human beings are going to die by jihadis. I think 3,000 of them died already in New York and Washington and Pennsylvania. So this came from what you're going to see right now. Check this out.
Hi, this is Damon Rosen reporting for the United West. Here in Roslindale, Massachusetts, we are on location at the CVS pharmacy where Usaama Rahim
is that the tape
was
right
shot
there
and killed
to your
by
right?
police
That
and
is it.
FBI
Your left,
agents
screen left.
exactly
That's on your
1
desk.
week ago today. As you can see, there are still crime scene tape remaining from the investigation. Usaama Rahim originally wanted to kill our good friend Pamela Geller, but decided in the end to, quote, go after the boys in blue. And after that communication was intercepted by authorities, he was approached by the Joint Terrorism Task Force right here in this parking lot, where he lunged at and attempted to attack law enforcement with a military-style knife. The end result, Usaama Rahim is now dead, and the freedom of speech lives. Reporting for the United West, this is Damon Rosen.
And I got that tape right over here, right next to me. Good report from that parking lot right there. And we're documenting all of these events around the United States. Now let's go to the Roxbury Mosque. Now, in terms of what's going on in Massachusetts, you have the Islamic Society of Boston. We have renamed it Boston's Islamic Jihad Society because 12 jihadis have come out of it so far, and many of them, some of them are dead, some of them are in jail, some of them are on the lam. But now let's go to the Roxbury Mosque, which is I'll get more into when I introduce the next piece. Let's go to your tape at Roxbury.
Hi, this is Damon Rosen reporting for the United West from Roxbury, Massachusetts. We are standing outside of the Islamic Society of Boston Cultural Center, also known as the Roxbury Mosque. This is the same mosque attended by Usaama Rahim, the man shot dead by police and FBI agents exactly 1 week ago today as he lunged at them with the military-style knife. This is also the same mosque that was attended by the Boston Marathon bombers, Tamerlan and Dzhokhar Tsarnaev. In addition to those three terrorists, it is also a place of worship for Afia Siddiqui, also known as Lady Al-Qaeda, currently serving an 86-year prison sentence for her part in assaulting U.S. military personnel. Among the original leaders of this mosque is none other than the spiritual leader of the Muslim Brotherhood, Yusuf al-Qaradawi. In addition to that, one of the founding members is Rahman Abdul Alamudi, currently serving a 23-year prison sentence for his part in the attempted assassination of a Saudi Arabian prince with the help of Muammar Gaddafi.
Audio goes out here for a second. It comes right back.
People inside of this building are the ones that can tell us. Sir, we are on public property.
Cop comes up to him, security guard.
I'm not inside of your gate, sir. I have permission to stand here from the United States of America. Yes, I do. It is right here. It's called the U.S. Constitution. I'm not in your mosque, sir. I'm standing on public ground.
What's happening?
Sir, you need to call the police then. You should call the police.
To our radio audience, and you go back a few frames. What's happening, Damon's doing a live report in front of the Roxbury Mosque in a suburban area of Boston. And he's doing the report, and you can see the security guard walking out from the main entrance, and then he confronts Damon, tells him to leave. And Damon says, I don't have to leave. I'm on public right-of-way. And the law is in the United States, if you're on public sidewalk, you can stay there and do basically whatever you want. You're free to assemble. This security guard's telling him he has to leave. Let's check this out, this little confrontation.
Yes, I do. It is right here. It's called the U.S. Constitution. I'm not in your mosque, sir. I'm standing on public ground. Sir, you need to call the police then. You should call the police. No, sir. You don't own this sidewalk. Because I'm doing a special on the terrorists in this building. Sir, you don't own that sidewalk. Call the police right now. You do not own this.
Okay, pulls out his phone or pad. He goes back inside.
Yes, sir.
Now, what was he telling you was inside?
As you can see, they just had a security guard come and try and chase me away from the front of their building. As far as I can tell, I'm standing on a sidewalk. From what I understand, every sidewalk in America is owned by the city or the county in which it resides.
All right, now, what was he saying to you, Damon, at 44 minutes after? Tom Trento, your host, Enemies of the State, WSBR Radio. You're listening to or you're watching confrontation that Damon Rosen, one of our reporters, had a couple days ago up in the Boston area in front of a very bad mosque, a military base, basically. What was he saying something about inside? He's going, we couldn't hear him too well.
He was asking me if I had permission to be out there filming in front of the mosque.
God give permission. You know, that's something that these folks love to shut down any sort of free speech component that doesn't work with the Saudi Arabian policies. All right, so did the cops ever come or what?
Of course not.
Yeah, of course not.
He came back out about, 10 minutes later and, started filming me like he's going to intimidate me. I'm there filming a video. How is him taking a video of me going to possibly intimidate me by leaving? That sometimes works with people. But
well, why didn't he call the cops? That's very interesting. He didn't call the cops, A, because you weren't doing anything wrong.
Correct.
And B, the last thing these suckers want are cops coming to their mosque right now. That mosque, the Roxbury Mosque and the Cambridge Mosque, did you go to that one by any chance?
Yes.
Throw a little something up with the Cambridge Mosque.
All right, hold on here.
These are the two mosques, part of the Boston Islamic Jihad Society. Here's Cambridge right here. Check this out.
hold on one second. I lowered the volume all the way, so let me get back to that. Oh, audio mixer, let's go up.
That's all right. You're by yourself as a one-armed.
Hi, this is Damon Rosen reporting for the United West on location in Cambridge, Massachusetts. We're standing out front of the Islamic Society of Boston, the sister mosque to the mega mosque in Roxbury, Massachusetts. What do Abdul Rahman Alamoudi, Yosef Qaradawi, Afia Siddiqui, also known as Lady Al-Qaeda, the Tsarnaev brothers, also known as the Boston Bombers, and Usaama Rahim all have in common? Answer: they have all attended either this institution or its sister mosque in Roxbury. What is being taught in these places of worship is something that federal law enforcement must determine for the safety and security of not just the people of Boston, but for all Americans. Signing off for the United West, this is Damon Rosen.
Yeah, the Cambridge Mosque, and Cambridge is one of the elite educational towns in the world. Cambridge Mosque and the Roxbury Mosque are two mosques within the Islamic Society of Boston, ISB. And you can get a tremendous amount of information from Americans for Peace and Tolerance, peaceandtolerance.org. That's Ilya and Charles' organization. They've done absolutely phenomenal work. But let me now go in our Wayback Machine, because these organizations are in the news lately because of the jihad attacks coming out from them. But if you listen carefully, and we don't expect you to remember every single name that Damon went through, these are all very serious Islamic terrorists. Now, are any Muslims attending these mosques that are non-violent and non-jihad? Yeah, of course they go in there. But that's the beauty of these mosques from the Islamic State's point of view, or the Muslim Brotherhood's point of view, that within the hive, if you will, of this entity are regular Muslims going about their business, and then the evil stuff is being done. We're talking about the leadership here and much of the training that goes on. We're not indicting every single Muslim that goes to these places, though the day is coming very quickly where if Muslims continue to go to these places, when they come up on the federal radar, then the innocence of those Muslims is disappearing because they know where they're going. If my church that I went to, I go to a little church, if I saw it in the news all the time and all these names and all these leaders were in jail or shot or here, I'd think about going to another church. If I stay there, it's got to be a reason why I want to be in an environment like that. So we're calling on the federal agencies to investigate more deeply than they have in the past the Islamic Society of Boston and both of these mosques, and for men and women to start standing up to these organizations and protesting at these organizations when the time is right. And we'll tell you when the time is right to do that. But let's go back in our Wayback Machine. We're going to show you one video today, tomorrow a couple of more. We went up to the grand opening, June 26, 2009. Oh my God, 6 years ago. 6 years ago this month, I traveled to the Roxbury Mosque to protest, to say this is bad, the opening of the Roxbury Mosque. Up there was Frank Gaffney, Charles Jacobs, and many others. Let's take a look at going up to Boston. We entitled this little piece 6 years ago, Roxbury Mosque or Mask. And the audio may be a little difficult for some of our radio listeners because it's ambient sound. I wasn't using, we didn't have this fancy stuff we have today. So bear with us if you're driving in your car. Come home, watch it on TV. It's phenomenal television. Check out Roxbury, Mosque or Mask. It says, warning to America. Muslims using Saudi money opened an ideological military base in Boston. Many counter-terrorism analysts believe this outpost designed to recruit an army of African Americans to serve as a fifth column. This is right in the middle of the hood to do the Muslim Brotherhood's work in America, a kind of grand jihad, eliminating and destroying Western civilization from within. On June 26, 2009, Tom Trento joined with Americans for Peace and Tolerance to protest the opening of the Roxbury Mosque. This is my gritty report. Roxbury, mosque or mask? I'm shipping up to Boston. I think we took the song off because
Okay, it is very early. Thursday
Blair
morning,
Witch Project stuff.
25th. Losing track of the days, but I'm on my way to Boston, Massachusetts, to the Roxbury Mosque opening tomorrow. Been a controversial situation, and rightfully so. So this is the story of my little adventure to Boston to help out the folks up there. See you soon.
At the airport early. This is a little dramatic stuff here, folks. I'm on my way to Boston. Bye, it says. Now, right now, we had in Dropkick Murphy's shipping up to Boston, all this B-roll as I'm driving, coming to the mosque, but we had to take it off because I think Dropkick Murphy complained. And now I'm at the Roxbury Mosque, Islamic Society of Boston Cultural Center.
Which is where I just had the run-in with the security
We're standing, I'm right where Damon was 2 days ago.
Exact same spot.
Did they have the balloons up, the welcoming
They did
balloons?
not have the balloons up.
Okay. We're showing
Special
police
operations,
cars. The audio
police
comes
are
back
there.
in once we edit the song. You're seeing great B-roll of the crowd.
Okay, I'm here in front of the Roxbury Mosque. It is Friday morning, the 26th of June, and the troops are lining up to make a statement as to prayer, not extremism. Well, we'll see how the day goes.
This is a good old-fashioned protest. We got saxophones and trombones.
It's a trumpet, Tom. That's actually a bugle.
And the sign says prayer, not extremism.
Anybody reading that Boston
Charles
Globe story
Jacobs.
heard that they had somebody saying Christians are filth. Anybody reading that Boston Globe story heard that the official Jewish
Charles
community
Jacobs is
not coming
explaining
here today.
why we're standing
Not
there
coming here
protesting
today, and they're
a
going to have to
religious
say
place.
why they're not coming here today. Anybody who heard that, read that Boston Globe story knows that this is a Saudi-funded mosque, and we're going to tell
16
everybody in the
million
world,
bananas.
Saudis
North American
do not
Islamic
make
Trust.
modern mosques. You have to understand what this fellow went
This
through.
is
He's a
Dr.
sheikh.
Ahmed
He's a
Mansour
sheikh. He's a
from the
doctor of
Quranic
Islamic
Center in
Studies
Northern
from
Virginia,
the Vatican of Islam in
who
El-Azhar in
Charles
Cairo.
brought in as a moderate
And he's
Muslim
a reformer. He
to
is
address this.
reinterpreting the Quran so that you could be a Muslim and not be demanded to go kill people and Jews and Christians and beat your wife. This is a glorious, glorious, godly endeavor that he's doing. They chased him out of Cairo. They put him in jail. They tortured him. He came to Harvard University Scholars at Risk program. He went to pray at the Cambridge Mosque that these guys owned, and he looked and he saw the Arabic literature, and it was full of hatred against Jews and Christians in America. And he stood up and he talked for us. For us. And what did he get? He got fatwas on his head, he got fatwas on his wife's head and his kid's head, and he got sued. So he's a hero, and I really want to thank him for coming.
And this is why what Ahmed is doing is so important. And why what we're doing
That's
here
Frank
is so
Gaffney now speaking.
And I believe that what we're doing is not only standing against the people who brought us this mosque, the radicals, the Wahhabis, the Sharia adherent, but we're standing with Muslims in America who wish to be able to live their lives here, to practice their faith in a peaceable, tolerant way, to be part of America, not to be forcing everybody else to submit along with them to this program that, frankly, many of them came here to get away from, where it was being imposed elsewhere in their world. So this is indeed a very important moment. It is a stand for all that we hold dear against all that we know
Memories,
would
bringing back a
undermine
lot of
it
memories.
and force it to submit.
You're going to see a
So
little
I want to
confrontation
again
shortly.
thank those of you who are here, those of you who aren't, but who are represented by those who are here. Because with our voices, which are now being heard increasingly all over America, we will have an opportunity to show what these guys have in mind and to help our countrymen learn
To
about
show what
it,
these guys have in
understand
mind.
that
This
it
is 6 years ago.
not intolerant to oppose extremism, and it is in fact American to insist that not only are they entitled to the freedom of religion, we're all entitled to our freedoms. And we will not allow them to take those freedoms away. By
The freedom to assemble, the freedom to speak he's talking about.
Thank you very much.
Calm that down.
Its location is the black community.
Now I walk around with the camera, I pick up
in
little
the way of
conversations.
what they call Sharia.
Health food for activists. We had donuts all over the place.
That should have ensured good police protection.
Look at all the cop motorcycles that were there. Now, this is shooting from the Roxbury side. We were across the street. Mumbo jumbo alert. Listen carefully to Muslim doublespeak you're about to hear. All right, check this out now. This is Imam Farouk, who has been thrown out of some of these mosques now. He's so
And we
extreme.
represent the
There he
Islamic
is.
Society of Boston Cultural Center. We are the Muslim populace and the Muslim leadership.
What about Badawi?
No, he's not here.
Jamal Badawi.
Jamal Badawi, who's he?
Who is he? He's a
Who is
trustee
he?
on the board.
Okay, so what?
Well, he's a Muslim Brotherhood.
That's right, and we love him dearly. As a matter of fact,
But so why does he say then in his talks?
Who is
that-
he? We
let me
love him
explain.
dearly.
So why this is why we're upset. Why does Jamal Badawi
in the state of Connecticut,
say in
we
his,
say in peace, salam alaikum.
Good, shalom. Why does Jamal Badawi say that it's incumbent upon all Muslims to establish Muslim rule all around the earth? We would want Muslims to come here and be equal with Jews and Christians. But we find that many of the things that are taught by people who are connected to
This is
you.
from the Pluralism Project at Harvard that has studied you and this movement back and forth for the last
All right, freeze it for 1 second. I'm looking at the clock. We may have to.
Yes, were you?
Well, let me finish my question.
Okay, I want to say, were you at this gathering today?
No, I was not.
Oh,
Less
too
than
bad.
a minute
You
to
would have
go.
heard exactly what I say. I grew up as a Christian. I have a Jewish first name, and none of what Jamal Badawi has said affects or shapes the way we think and believe.
But he's a trustee of your board.
Doesn't make a difference. He has his opinion, and that's his
What
opinion.
about Karadawi?
What about it?
Well, Karadawi says that you ought to kill homosexuals either by stoning them
Listen.
or by throwing them off the roof.
Listen.
I've seen it on the tape. You want?
No, look, he doesn't make. Listen. That's
what he said.
That's his opinion, and
Well,
he's,
but
and
wait.
he's entitled to his opinion.
He's entitled to that opinion?
He's entitled to whatever opinion you want. This is America.
He's entitled to the opinion that...
Listen, he's entitled to his opinion. This is America, and people have many
Well, then
opinions.
let's talk about his opinion.
To be continued. Will Imam Farouk talk about his beliefs? See part 2. I told you, look out for the mumbo jumbo alert. Imam Farouk is a big dude. We'll give you a little more about him tomorrow, but he was there. Tomorrow, we're going to show you more confrontation with him, and then you're not going to believe. We're going to show you my confrontation with a real-life jihadi on the street there, and we have an extended two videos of me dialoguing with a guy. We're going to take you inside the mind of an Islamic Society of Boston Muslim jihadi tomorrow here on our show, Enemies of the State, so you can see how these people think and you can see how they act 6 years later and what's going to be beholden for the United States as we have this example of Islamic jihad up in Boston. It's coming all over, and it's going to be energized and fueled even more greatly with the Islamic State's social media activity right now. Okay, that was Jumpin' Juma Freaky Thursday. See you tomorrow. Jumpin' Juma Freaky Friday.